Hello, great people. Welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, we're so excited to have you again. Finally, the long awaited reply of the federal government towards Nnamdi Kanu continuous detention despite court ruling is out. And Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, is the one that opened up to Nigerians why they must disobey court order and still keep Nnamdi Kanu. Now, according to the news, despite the court ruling asking Nigeria to return the leader of the indigenous people, Biafra, IPOM, to Kenya and pay him 500 million naira as compensation, the federal government is not inclined to free him based on several factors that the General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, had said. In an interview he granted on Thursday that the rendition of Nnamdi Kanu could not be used as the only basis to free the IPOB leader of other offenses allegedly committed by him against the federal government of Nigeria. The Justice Minister explained that the government was holding on to Kanu on account of four major issues which were preceded by the rendition matter for which the court cleared him. In the words of Malami, he said that to release or not to release Nnamdi Kanu is a function of law and the rule of law for the matter. In arriving at the decision whether to release or not release is one, you look at the rule of law. Two, you look at the public and the national interests. Three, you look at the security situation. Four, you look at the international diplomacy. Let me talk of the rule of law. This is someone that has been granted bail on account of charges that has been preferred against him at the court. Someone jumping bail to international community, a case of fugitive is established against a background of jumping the bail. Two arising from the national two, sorry, two arising from the national security. This is someone that is charged with treason, incitement, and destruction of civil authority, murder, and assassination of others on account of his incitement that boil down to issues of national security and criminality. Three, on account of international diplomacy, this is someone that has against his person used international community or a foreign country to launch an attack against a nation, against his nation for that matter. So all these naturally come into play to determine what to do. So if you have through judicial process established multiple cases of treason and homicide, bell jumping among others, the fact that you have indeed succeeded in one case as against multiple others that are pending goes to establish the fact that that case cannot be the only basis and criteria for determining whether you are entitled to be released or not. Those were the words of Malami. Wow, this one is, I don't know whether it's a case of understanding or a case of not understanding the court ruling and some other things that were said. Now, first of all, I want to strike an example for clarification. Someone goes to the university, and when he found himself in the university, he didn't get admission, which is the crux of the matter. And then here he comes out with very good grades, making A's in all his courses. And then when the time came, he demanded for his result. And the school said, well, we cannot recognize you. Neither can we recognize your performance. Why? Because you don't have admission in the school. I think the whole thing border on rendition. How did Nnamdi Kanu, how he was brought into Nigeria? That is the crux of the matter right now. Because before anybody will be tried or will be brought before the law court on the count of all the crimes he has committed. In quotes, the first thing is, how did you bring him in? If you brought him in illegally, that is where the issue is right now. It's a kind of what I call it legal sensibility. And based on the fact that he was brought in illegally, the lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu capitalized on that loophole, which in the face of the law was found to be totally wrong. And then they said, the law now said, return him back to Kenya, go through the judicial process, in other words, the legal process of extraditing someone. And if the country where you illegally brought him from agree with everything you have packaged through legal process, then he can be brought into Nigeria. But if he was brought into Nigeria, it renders every other case that you are bringing against him invalid. Very simple. Because right now, what is happening based on, explanation here and there is like you're forcefully or you're using illegality to bring legality. That is where the issue is. And I must say that there are a lot of fears right now, because if this man keeps staying in the prison for a long time, we cannot be so sure that the youth, especially as our East youth, will not react. Or let me also put it this way, keeping him there despite the court ruling, one cannot be so sure that the youth will not take up arms and do the unthinkable. Wisdom is profitable, profitable for understanding at this point. Don't forget that the president had already said it when there was need for his issue to be dealt with via political solution. The president said, I won't. That the only way that the case will be fixed will be via the court. And now the court has come up with a ruling. This is the ruling which they have presented. And if they have presented a ruling, the ideal thing that the federal government can do is to go back to the court and say to the court, Mbano, this thing that you have said, we are not in sync with it. You push in another case so that, or maybe take it to appeal court. That one that was arrived at in Umuahia. Take it to appeal court. You take it to appeal court, and as at that time, ideally, Nnamdi Kanu should be released. Should be released. First of all, you respect the court ruling, because obviously, with what we are saying here right now, no respect for the rule of law. The supremacy of the law is the first thing. There's this thing that they say, obey before complain. The law has stipulated and said, this is what you must do. So which means that before you take any other action, obey the ruling first. So because it is the law itself, this is what judiciary has come up with. So you first of all obey that before you think of, giving reasons why this must happen, this must not happen. It's a serious one, I must say. I don't know how this will be fixed, but however, I pray the Southeast will regain back their peace, because keeping him is not a good move for the entirety of Nigeria. That's where we like to leave it.